I think I really decided to start creating something. It was like later in life. I was definitely like 18 years old. I was like, okay, this is serious and I need to be doing this for the rest of my life, sort of thing. And I really had that drive. I remember my high school teacher literally saying, "You're one of the fastest painters I've seen come through the space." And that to me was just like, what does that mean? And then that question got me down the whole rabbit hole of what is painting and how do I express myself. It's obvious that it's intuitive to me, so how can I learn how to do that better and better and better? So that's what I do every day. I'm Katie Lane. I'm 27 years old and I'm a mixed media abstract painter and collage artist. I've been working in and around the Boston area for probably about 7 years or so, maybe 8. So I started in high school with my APR class, and she's still like my biggest influence, my high school art teacher, Nikki Giraffa. But she was really the one to push me from psychology to art. And I went to New England School of Art and Design over at Suffolk University. And I lucked out. It was a really intimate program. There was like 9 or 10 kids in my class, and there was 2 professors for us in our like more senior years, junior and senior year. That program really instilled in me the studio practices and habits and rituals of getting in the studio, and how that can be a really safe place for you to express all your ideas and concepts and like learn about yourself. Looking back, I'd say the program itself was pretty concept-based. There was no one typically outside of like the foundation classes that you take in school. Any art school will have you take like color theory or this and that. But typically, I never had anyone looking over my shoulder saying, "Katie, that red in that painting is off, that should be changed." So it was much more me experimenting and like learning about where art comes from within myself and how I'm gonna get there, and my processes and techniques and what a mark for me looks like. So that was super important for me to go to school for that reason. I think as a creator, the confusing part where you enter the world after school or some program and you're like, wow, I need to figure out how to actually make this work in the real world, quote unquote real world, and like how is this gonna work? That to me was I've always worked through college, so I've been a chameleon in a lot of different job positions and things like that, just to make a living and have benefits. And still hold on to that as well a lot of times. But I think that the confusing part was when I realized that I am an artist and I can't not be. So I need to figure out how I am gonna make this work. And about 6 months ago, actually, I decided that I was gonna take my studio really seriously and take myself seriously in the art world and say, hey, I'm a small business owner, I'm an artist, and I can make a living off of it. I'm already kind of proven to myself that my paintings will sell and make some money, so let me figure out how I can actually channel this through my studio so I can do this more sustainably and focus on that. So things get confusing, and I think as an artist especially, you're able to kind of roll with the punches, or the better that you're able to roll with the punches, the better off you're gonna be. So I grew up with my mom and dad. They're crazy hard workers. They kind of have, my dad especially has this like inability to stay still, and he's an engineer as well. So he built, half of our house and all this stuff. So I grew up around like a lot of woodwork. He had like a home wood shop in the basement. And so I just grew up around power tools, and just really, I knew a lot about paint mixing. My mom was a big painter, like house painter. She would always be redesigning the house or whatnot. I just kind of knew, I grew up around all this stuff, and it was really intuitive for me to just pick it up when the time came for me to do that. And so that kind of influenced like my work ethic. I'm in here like every day or doing something for my studio every single day. And my friends have always been a major support system. they just are my #1 fans, and I love it. I just need that around me sometimes when I'm doing it every day, and you're like, am I doing the right thing? Is this the right direction? I can call them up and have them look at a painting, and I know that it's in the right direction or it needs to go another way, and they've been super helpful in that as well. Huge roadblocks are every single day. I personally struggle with panic disorder and anxiety, and I just think like truly that mental block waking up every single day is something that I potentially even overcompensate for. Sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna do that thing that scares me the most because I am so afraid of it. And I think that's kind of what drives me, although it also just makes me paranoid and freaks me out. But those are like that's really truly the main hurdle that I deal with every single day, is that whole concept that like, can I do this, and am I doing this, and why am I doing this? And I always made it safe in my studio to be experimental and process things, and allow other people to process things as well in it. My studio is a safe spot to have those emotions come forth. A lot of my work is pretty punchy and high contrast, and I think that that's just me working through a lot of things internally. One day I show up with a painting and I'm like, I'm gonna be soft and I want to be ethereal and I just want to be a cloud, and then because I feel that way. And other days I'm like, I need to fight against the machine. Like I need to fight against something, and so I'll put that on the canvas, and it's just such a relief, you know. And I hope that my studio grows into this like own unique and special entity that's not solely based around me and how I operate so much. I really want my studio to become its own brand, so to speak. I think that a lot of people in general, and also just young artists too, like they need to hear that we're not all doing great, and that your work can actually be a value to something really special and only for you as well, and something that you can really get connected to. I think if you make artwork in particular, you have this object at the end of the day to really like hold you and say, hey, you made this today and that's good enough.